Hello, good morning and welcome back to the Bahrain International Circuit for Race 2, the 2025 season of the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. Third season for the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East and starting as ever here at the Bahrain International Circuit, the heart of motorsport in the Middle East and the base of operations for the Lechner Racing firm who organise and run this championship. Well, welcome back, everybody, after yesterday's entertaining first race. We are back at the Bahrain International Circuit, and from yesterday evening into, well, the early morning warmth. 28 degrees already of air temperature, track already 37 degrees Celsius, and that will only climb during the race. So our drivers will have to be a little cautious with their tyre management. But the introduction of traction control and ABS to all classes in PCC Middle East is going to make a big difference to that. Let's take a look at our grid then. On pole position is the sensational Japanese newcomer Taichi Watarai. Started on pole for yesterday's race and the 21-year-old went on to win it. Not without incident, but an entertaining race nevertheless he had, particularly with young Aussie Caleb Sumich. We'll talk about him in a moment. And starting second on the grid, Cedric Chassang, racing for Team GP Elite, born in Amsterdam and racing under a French license. Cedric, seventh in yesterday's first race, pipped at the line by 24 thousandths of a second in a near photo finish with Saudi Arabian driver Saud Al Saud. We'll see him in a moment as well. The grid set not in a second qualifying session, but by the second fastest lap for each driver in the sole qualifying session. And that means that Max Lechner, who started in sixth place in race one, his second best lap was the third fastest of the second best laps. And so the youngster, the rookie in the series, starting in third place. He finished eighth in yesterday's first race. And a driver from the Sud Tirol in Italy with very limited amount of racing experience. There's a couple of drivers in the field, and not least our Pulsar Taichi Watarai, who have done barely a handful of races in their lives. Khaled Al Ahmadi from Saudi Arabia, more experienced, and he in the pro category, starting in fourth place, finished fifth in yesterday's race, had a highly entertaining tussle behind the lead group and was always in the thick of a battle. So he will start in fourth position, and Samir Shaheen of Australia for Team GP Elite, the second of the Team GP Elite cars, he will start in fifth position on the grid. Finished on the podium third in race one. Older brother of Yasser Shaheen, who is racing later on during the course of the day in the FIA World Endurance Championship. The brothers are the co-owners of The Bend Motorsport Park in Australia, and clearly passionate petrol heads. So Sam with a run to third place yesterday, starting fifth on the grid, not beyond the bounds of possibility whatsoever that he could repeat that podium finish. And Alexandra Vateva, who starts in sixth position, she'll be hoping for a lot more luck than yesterday. She retired at the end of lap one, and there was contact, a little bit of a front end bump in turn one right at the start of the race. That damaged the cooling system. All of the cooling system on these 992s is right behind the front bodywork, the front bumpers, and unfortunately her system was damaged, and so the dash lit up like a Christmas tree, and very sensibly she parks the car. So it seems no damage was done, so she is ready to go again. So Alexandra Vateva starts in sixth position, the Bulgarian driver for Splendid Racing. Now, she did a handful of races last year in the series, still one of our rookies. She, Max Mutzlechner, Aichi Watarai, and the final man on the grid also in the rookie category. So the safety car heads off. With a bellow of V8. So this is the man who finished in 6th place yesterday, Saud Al Saud, and racing for the Saudi racing team, who were last year's team champions. Going to have a job on their hands to defend that title this year. There's already a tough battle going on for drivers in their respective categories and also in the team's competition. Saud was behind Cedric Chassang out of the final corner. Chassang moved to the right-hand side to be up against the pit wall to try and deny Saud a run up the inside, but in doing so made his run to the line fractionally a longer distance. Instead of going straight, Saud went straight and beat him by 24 thousandths. Alongside Saud is Alexander Hagenberg, another newcomer to the series, racer from Norway. Not the only Norwegian racing driver here at Bahrain International Circuit. Dennis Olsen of Norway, racing in a Ford Mustang in the World Endurance Championship, but lots of successful Norwegian rally drivers. Race drivers are rather fewer and further between. Races for MTech alongside Masters front-runner Krista Andero, another Scandinavian driver, and Alexander Hagenberg finished in 10th place, 14th place yesterday. Behind him on the grid, but ahead of him by some margin yesterday, is our second Japanese driver, Banksy, and the second car in the 7x7 team. And they are leading the team standings because his teammate, Taichi Watarai, finished first, and Banksy finished second in yesterday's race. So a perfect start to the championship for the team with a 1-2 result. Banksy from, where is he now, in 9th place on the grid. Going to have to work hard to grab another second position, but he and Taichi Watarai, both being coached by Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup driver and champion Harry King, so they've got plenty of experience going into their knowledge banks. So Banksy finished second yesterday, starts 9th today. Starting in 10th place on the grid is car number 10, and that is Krista Andero, the Swedish driver. And he is the second of the MTech competition cars. Andero raced in Porsches in the Middle East since 2020, and was in the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East last season as well. And he is one of our Masters category drivers. So drivers fall into three performance categories, if you like, classes. We've got Pro, Pro-Am and Masters. In addition, there are awards for the top rookie and the top driver from the GCC, the Gulf commercial grouping of nations, of which Bahrain is one. So Krista Andero starts in 10th. 11th on the grid is the man who was our Masters winner yesterday in the GT Sports Technology car number 85 from the Czech Republic, Peter Brecker. That distinctive livery, easy to spot, white, black and gold. Like the chrome gold as well, very nicely done. Great looking livery. Peter Brecker, third in the Masters series last season, so clearly already looking to go at least one better than that, if not two better than that. That's his aim for the year, to grab the title. Pretty experienced racer, particularly in the 24-hour series and the ESET V4 Cup in Central and Eastern Europe. And alongside him on the grid is Mark J. Thomas, as you can see from his B-pillar logo, a Canadian driver. He's an expat who is domiciled here in Bahrain, because he is the CEO of the state oil company Bapco, and a massive petrol head. And I'm sure it's not entirely unrelated to his presence at the head of Bapco that they are a big motorsport sponsor for events in the Gulf states, not least of which is the Bapco Energy's 8 Hours of Bahrain, the World Endurance finale this weekend. And the final car on the grid is one that's going to be easy to spot, and there's a good reason why we will need that ease of spotting, because Caleb Sumich, who starts in 13th place, finished 4th yesterday, but could easily have won the race took the lead a couple of times in a good battle mid-race with Taichi Watarai. Unfortunately, contact between the two of them saw Caleb being spun out at turn 11. That was judged to be a racing incident, so there was no penalty for Watarai, but Caleb Simic had to fight his way back from 6th or 7th by the time he'd recovered in what by that stage was a slightly split up field. Ended up in 4th place. The young Australian in the DHL team car, racing here in Bahrain for the first time. Did much of last season, but not all of it. Wasn't here in Bahrain. Joined in on round 3. So here's our grid. Taichi Watarai, the yellow and black car from Cedric Chassang in the white, orange and black of Team GP Elite. Max Lechner with Khaled Al Ahmadi. The two Saudi racing cars, easy to spot, they're white and green. Then Team GP Elite Sam Shaheen and Alexander Bateva. Saud Al Saud and Alexander Hagenberg ahead of the bright puce car of Banksy. Krista Andero ahead of Brecker with those chrome gold highlights. Mark J. Thomas with the stripes all the way down the side of the car. And Caleb Simic starting last, the young Australian, in the DHL team car. Do not expect him to finish last. So, as with yesterday, 12-lap race, maximum time allowed 30 minutes. Already quite a spread out field as drivers warm their tyres. That rather means that when Taichi Watarai gets to the grid, he might have a bit of a wait. It won't be overwhelmingly hot in the cars, at least not yet. It's going to be quite a warm job though today. Sun beating down, already close to 30 degrees. Definitely are feeling the heat here. It might be early November, but you are certainly feeling the heat. There's Caleb Simic. Just rocking to and fro on the steering, trying to build some heat into those front tyres. Very, very impressive on the brakes yesterday. As I said, all these cars now with traction control and ABS. Previously that was restricted to the Masters category to make the cars a bit more forgiving for incoming gentleman drivers. But from 2026 onwards, Porsche Carrera Super Cup and Carrera Cup Deutschland, which will be the first to have the new 992 version 2, the upgraded 992 Cup car, that will come with traction control and ABS, reflecting the way that GT racing is going predominantly as customer-based racing. Categories like GT3, LMGT3 here in the World Endurance Championship, all with traction control and ABS. And so the new generation of Porsche 992 Cup cars will have those. They can't build enough at Weissach to supply every championship that wants them. So for next season, it will be Mobil 1 Super Cup and Carrera Cup Deutschland. And they will be building new chassis furiously at Weissach for everybody else, hopefully to be able to get the version 2 car for the 27 season. So hopefully those will appear end of 26, 27 here. However, never mind the future. Let's talk about what's going to happen right now. The yellow car on pole, Taichi Watarai, Cedric Chassang alongside him. Green flag waves at the back of the grid. We are ready to go. Red lights are on here in Bahrain for race 2 in the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. Not a great start from third on the grid from Max Lechner. Pretty even from the front row starters. Taichi Watarai, the yellow and black, closing down Cedric Chassang, the young Japanese driver with less than a dozen races under his belt before yesterday. Claimed victory, took 2 pole positions in qualifying. Caleb Simic already passed 1, 2, 3 cars, looking to pick off the M-Tech twins in front of him. And there you can see Saud Al Saud coming around the outside of Max Lechner. Didn't quite get that job done. Caleb Simic down the inside of the first of the M-Tech's cars. That's Krista Andero. Just ahead of him, Alexander Hagenberg with the dark stripes. And our top 3, Taichi Watarai, Cedric Chassang, and Past him has gone up to third, Sam Shaheen, yesterday's third place man. But there is the yellow and red of the DHL team car, Caleb Sumich again, through on brakes past the second of the M-Tech cars. So he's got by Mark Thomas, Peter Brecker, Christian Andera and Alexander Hagenberg already. And we're only down to turn 11. Not even down there, now down to turn 9 and 10. So down the back stretch, he was very good under brakes here as well into turn 11. There's Banksy, he's made up ground as well. Up a couple of spots, in fact he hasn't, he's gone backwards a couple of spots from 9th down to 11th. So Sumich up to 8th place. And there is Sam Shaheen battling with Khaled Al Ahmadi. Al Ahmadi with the green and white, the colours of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on the Saudi racing car. Sam Shaheen having to fight him off, and it looks like our top two will break away as a result. Taichi Watarai went off like a scalding cat yesterday. This cat appears to be in equally hot water again today. Cedric Chassang second, and then the three-way battle for third. The silver car with martini stripes. That is Sam Shaheen, Khaled Al Ahmadi, white and green, and right behind Alexandra Vateva. So Vateva from 6th on the grid, currently in 5th spot as Max Much-Lechner leads the next little pack, but she's trying to line up a move on Al Ahmadi. He sits in the middle of the road. She's on the grippy side of the track, down into turn 1. This is where she sort of pulled off yesterday. She makes up the spot though. She bounces over the curbs at 2. Al Ahmadi comes across the dirt. He can't take advantage there, and he loses ground immediately. That's a really good bit of gentlemanly driving. Pulls out of the way of Max Much-Lechner and allows the young Italian to go through. He knew that he was going to go cripplingly slowly up the hill from 3 to 4, and so got out of the way of a rival. And that is a proper bit of driving from Khaled Al Ahmadi, now just ahead of Team X Saud Al Saud, who has got Caleb Sumich for company. And this is where he went off wide, across the dirt, dust on the tyres, a little bit of grit and sand on the tyres. They will have had zero grip trying to dig traction up that hill. So there is Sumich, 8th place at the moment, behind the two Saudi drivers and Max Much-Lechner. But unfortunately already he is over 5 seconds, over 6 seconds now behind the leader. Leader is 1.8 seconds clear of Cedric Chassang in 2nd place. So Taichi Watarai having a very comfortable ride out front. And Caleb Sumich is now going to have to really work hard for positions. New to the track this season, whereas the two Saudi drivers in front of him know this place inside out. And that does make a difference, particularly when it comes to how and where you race. Christian Andero with the green highlights ahead of Alexander Hagenberg, the two M-Tech cars. Andero leading in the Masters class at the moment from Peter Brecker and Mark Thomas. And Christian Andero under pressure behind from Alexander Hagenberg as we see Max Much-Lechner with the two Saudi drivers in his slipstream. Khaled Al Ahmadi the first, then Saud Al Saud. Caleb Sumich not getting a good drive off the final corner, losing a little bit down the straight. Khaled Al Ahmadi pulls out. The Italian just about has that covered though. Taichi Watarai with the fastest race lap, 2 minutes 3.802. Yesterday, the fastest race lap went to Caleb Sumich, 2 minutes 3.461. And that was on lap 2. At the moment, Watarai feeling that he does not have to push too hard. He's keeping his speed up ahead of Cedric Chassang. Chassang not too far ahead of Sam Shaheen and Alexandra Vateva. And they have dropped Khaled Al Ahmadi, who's got by Max Much-Lechner. This is where that happened. Much-Lechner with a little fit of the head stagger. Saud Al Saud was that contact from behind from Caleb Sumich. Here's the battle for 3rd. Sam Shaheen, silver car with the red and blue stripes, very evocative, very reminiscent of 1970s Martini Porsche livery. It wasn't always white, red and blue. Silver, red and blue, red with the red and blue stripes. Martini Rossi liveries have come in a variety of different colours, but running out a little wide, Samir Shaheen and Alexander Vateva, the Bulgarian driver, right there. She's looking to try and take advantage. Again, showing her nose on the inside. Such a shame for her championship yesterday that that little bit of contact in turn one on lap one caused overheating problems. Down the hill into 14 and 15. Not quite close enough to have a tilt there. They're not as quick into 14 as you think you might be. If you go in as quick as you think you can, you don't really make it out of 15 very well. And then you compromise yourself all the way down the straight. Here comes Vateva. She's got a very good run going. Pulls out from right behind in the slipstream. And she covers the corner under braking. Sam Shaheen knew he was giving away the toe there. That was always going to happen. Track's wide enough there that you can't cover the inside and the outside. I think wisely, he stayed on the racing line, giving himself the best opportunity to defend under braking. But she had the toe, she had the slipstream, she got what she needed. Now then, let's see what's going on here. Max Muxlechner with Caleb Sumich. Oh, and Muxlechner. No, Sumich pulling off. I was going to say Muxlechner running very wide, but Sumich is pulling off. He's got the hazards on, and is this overheating as well? I think we saw a little bit of a bump when he ran into the back of Saad Al Saud, and I wonder whether that has damaged the cooling system. It's been a very promising start from the young Australian Caleb Sumich. I promise him I won't go and talk to him for the next round in Qatar at the end of the month. Maybe he'll have better luck then. He's certainly got the pace, but maybe not the fortune here in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Drifting out a little bit wide there, Alexander Hagenberg with the yellow highlights. Teammate Christian Andero coming back at him. They swapped positions. Hagenberg got ahead of Andero. Andero was ahead of him at the start, or after the start. And they've got Banksy right behind in that bright pink and black machine. So this is 7th, 8th and 9th. Taichi Watarai leading the gold class. That is the pro category. Silver is Pro-Am. Cedric Chassang leading that. And Christian Andero down the inside. Send that nice and early into 14. Side by side, Alexander Hagenberg, as a result of going in a sort of wider sweeping arc through 14 and 15, kept the momentum up. But Christian Andero with Banksy behind him. Banksy's going 3 wide down the inside. Picked up a double toe there, slingshot up the straight, and Banksy picks off 2 of them in one go. Excellent work by the Japanese driver. Christian Andero still with teammate Alexander Hagenberg behind, flashing the headlights. Hagenberg looking down the inside into turn 4. Goes through this time. Quite tippy-toey there as you come over a little rise and drop down into the little gully between 4 and 5, then down the hill through 6 and 7. Turn 7 here into turn 8. Quite a hard stop here. Carry quite a lot of speed down the hill. Then building up speed quickly, still going downhill. Feels like it, looks like you're going uphill into 9, and then you are definitely corkscrewing tighter and tighter and tighter downhill through corner 10. Tyres hate that. You're trying to brake and turn, and the more you brake, the tighter you're turning as well. So Banksy, 7th place ahead of Alexander Hagenberg. And Christian Andero, Taichi Watarai out front now by 5.7 seconds, 5.695 seconds. Lap times have dropped a little for him, down to 2 minutes 3.9. Only a couple of cars in the 204s. Alexander Vateva, who's got ahead of Sam Shaheen, and Khaled Al Ahmadi in the 204s as well. Banksy under pressure from Alexander Hagenberg. Keeps his nose clean. Here's a chance now maybe for Christian Andero, the 3rd of these cars. Not quite close enough to pick up a double toe. And Banksy with Alexander Hagenberg whistling up behind him. He knows the danger is here, braking very late. See the car's writhing under braking. And Alexander Hagenberg just close enough to get alongside. A little bit of an overlap in 1 into 2 though. He had to rotate tighter than Banksy and just couldn't find the traction he needed. Banksy on the inside, defending into turn 4. Got one M-Tech car in either mirror, because Chris Trandero with the green highlights is right there as well now. And Alexander Hagenberg taking advantage through 5 and on the inside over the curbs in corner 6. Banksy and Hagenberg giving each other room to survive. Good racing between these two. This is excellent stuff. Each of them trusting the other not to do anything silly. And as a result, close, tight racing. Speed and respect in equal measure, and that's what you're looking for. Alexander Hagenberg, car number 9, just ahead of the pink car, 66 of Banksy. And right behind him now is Krista Andero. And Saad Al Saud behind them is creeping a little bit closer. This is lap 6 of 12. Before the end of the race, this may well be a 4-way battle unless Hagenberg can escape and leave Banksy to deal with Krista Andero. At the moment, Taichi Watarai, Cedric Chassang and Alexander Vateva the top 3, and here's the challenge for 4th place. Down the inside, Khaled Al Ahmadi goes by Samir Shaheen. So Sam Shaheen was 3rd a couple of laps ago, down to 5th position now. For some reason, does not quite seem to have the pace in the car that he did yesterday. Now, is that because he used a 2nd set of tyres in qualifying and didn't have a brand new set here, and maybe a couple of his rivals had, and he's starting to pay the penalty for that? There were a few cars went out early, and I have to admit, I've not made a note of which ones, who then did a tyre change and went out again in qualifying. That means that you don't have a fresh set of tyres for both races. Back to the battle for 8th. Pink car and Banksy ahead of Chris Randero, and Saad Al Saud right with them now. And ahead, Alexander Hagenberg starting to try and look at closing on Max Lechner. For the moment, Saad Al Saud looking for a way to get by Krista Andero. As you can see from the backing of his number on the timing pylon, Saad Al Saud in the pro class, Andero with the bronze. He's a Masters category driver, so although he doesn't want to give the place away, Saad Al Saud whistles by down into turn 10. He lets him go, because actually the bigger battle for Chris Randero is with the other Masters drivers behind. So Peter Brecker, who you can just see at the top of the screen, and Mark Thomas. Track limits for car 9, Alexander Hagenberg, turn 12, 2nd offence. So you have to be careful, Alexander Hagenberg, a little bit on his own. There he is, running out wide again, Hagenberg. That's out of 13. Another corner that is being monitored for track limits. Now then, here's the battle for 2nd place. Cedric Chassang ahead of the blue car of Alexandra Vateva. Alexandra has closed him right down, just half a second between them at the line. Banksy ahead of Saad Al Saud by a similar margin. And Saud pushing hard here, Banksy having to go shallow into turn 1 and defend. You can sort of park it there on the apex and nobody gets by you. It is a very slow speed complex, 1, 2 and into 3. Here, just the opposite. Through 6 and down the hill through 7 to corner 8. That's pretty quick, and Saad Al Saud lunges at 4. Banksy whips the cape out of the way and allows him to go through, and then hangs on to the position. Saw that coming, Banksy, and just allows the Saudi driver to dive by, knowing that he would run out wide. the greatest exit out of corner 8. Banksy looked like he bumped over the curb, just lost a bit of traction. Car maybe bogging down with the traction control, trying to stop him spinning up the tyres. Still has his nose in front out of corner 10, but there is a chance down the back straight in front of the Oasis pit lane where these cars are based. So Saad Al Saad, I'm sure, will have a little look, and Alexander Vateva further round the lap, definitely having a look. Yeah, Saad was having a look, so Banksy again had to defend hard into turn 11, and as they climb the hill, he's lost momentum. Climbing the hill as well, from 13 down to 14, Alexander Vateva flashing the headlights furiously at Cedric Chassang. Battle for second place. And she'll definitely want to secure a podium finish after not completing more than one lap yesterday. But second would definitely be better than third. Banksy again defending. Ooh, and Saad Al Saad on the inside. Chassang having to defend hard into turn 1. Vateva goes a long way around the outside. That could work for her. Chassang just manages to find some traction there. See him leaving big black stripes on the road as he did so he's obviously got the traction control turned down. Banksy again defending from Saad Al Saad into turn 1. He's clinging tenaciously to this 8th place, and the good news for Banksy is that Krista Andero might be starting to get involved in this. The bad news is that not enough. Saad Al Saad's got an overlap up the hill to turn 4. This should be it. Saad in the prime position. Banksy around the outside. But Saad can hang on there and does. He had to work hard for that, didn't he? And it may not be all over yet. The Japanese driver, not inexperienced in these cars or here in Bahrain, after yesterday's fabulous start to the season, won't be entirely thrilled with being passed again by Saad Al Saad. Taichi Watarai now 10 seconds ahead with 3 to go at the end of this. Cedric Chassang and Alexander Vateva, second and third. Here they are. Now has Chassang managed to steady the ship a little and fought off the splendid yachting car. Second track limits offence for Sam Shaheen at turn 13. The exit at turn 13 at the top of the hill. So he's going to have to mind his P's and Q's there as well. Khaled Al Ahmadi, the third car in shot here, is starting to close. And what was his last lap? 2:04.9. 2 cars in front are doing 2:05 and 2:06. So he is closing on the battle for second. Taichi Watarai out front. His last lap, 2:05.0. And that was the fastest of everybody on the last lap. So looks like Watarai, unless he has some technical disaster, will have pole, fastest lap and victory here today in race 2. Alexandra Vateva, the splendid racing machine, all over the back of Cedric Chassang. Vateva carrying number 1 on her blue car. Oh, and she's got a really good run going here, but it's going to be on the outside, down the hill. Oh, really piling the pressure on Cedric Chassang. She's going to try and go around him now, down the inside into turn 9. That's not happening, and Khaled Al Ahmadi is right there now. He's going to cut down the inside into turn 10. He picks up the place. Frustration for Alexander Vateva, and Khaled Al Ahmadi now on the podium for Saudi Racing. He's going to challenge Cedric Chassang down into 11, and Vateva goes around the outside. They're going to go left up the hill here, and Al Ahmadi will have the advantage now. Can he get around the nose of Chassang? He can't, can he really? Not into turn 12 or turn 13, but down the hill, 2 of these 3 will be on the podium, but which 2? This is lap 10 of 12. Taichi Watarai, a long way clear, lapping comfortably, nearly a second quicker than this battle. Cedric Chassaing clinging tenaciously to second place against all comers. Khaled Al Ahmadi with a little bit of oversteer through 14 into 15. The fourth track limits warning for Alexander Hagenberg. Alexandra Vateva showing her nose, not able to make the overlap work there. They are being caught now by Sam Shaheen. Oh, again, Al Ahmadi and Chassaing with very different lines, and Vateva trying to find a way through. She had better speed through 2 and into 3, just can't capitalize. They're both hogging the inside line now. She's going to be forced out very wide indeed. 3 wide. Can't get through there. She'll have to cut the line and try and come back underneath. Not quite close enough. Trying to take 2 of them in one go is going to be very tough. What she needs is for Al Ahmadi to open the door, somehow get inside Chassaing and act like a lever, and once the door is open and Chassaing's offline, then Vateva could go through as well. But Sam Shaheen is closing fast. He was half a second quicker than this battle on the last lap and the lap before. He is now right with them. It's a 4-way tussle for the podium. Chassaing, Al Ahmadi, the blue car Vateva, the silver car of Shaheen. That's 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. What a great racing start to the season this has been for Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. They say it only takes 2 cars to make a race. Well, we've got 4 of them making a race here, and Cedric Chassaing, again, still being defensive. Taichi Watarai out front. He's been pinged for track limits for a 2nd time as well, so he's going to have to mind his P's and Q's. He's unlikely to exceed track limits 4 times in the next lap and a half, so he should probably be fine. Cedric Chassaing ran out wide. Khaled Al Ahmadi painted onto the inside line, forcing Vateva to go around the outside into corner 15. That's not really going to work. She's going to cut back through 14 and 15. And here we go, a 4-way slipstreaming battle down the straight. Cedric Chassaing, the green and white of Khaled Al Ahmadi, the blue of Alexandra Vateva, and then the silver of Samir Shaheen. Vateva not close enough, nor is Al Ahmadi, but they've all closed up on Chassaing. So through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, all sorts of possibilities here. Al Ahmadi looks the most likely to move up. Vateva looks more under pressure at the moment from Sam Shaheen right behind. Al Ahmadi around the outside of Chassaing. And Cedric Chassaing doing a great job of defence here. It's been relentless. Really from lap 2 or 3, been swatting away somebody who's trying to take that 2nd place from him. And Cedric Chassaing denied 6th position by 24 thousandths of a second yesterday. Saad Al Saud pipped him in a drag race to the line. He will not want that to happen again here today. Alexander Vateva in 4th place. Sam Shaheen at the back of this queue finished 3rd yesterday. Looking to try and jump up the queue, get onto the podium again. Cedric Chassaing, the orange, white and black of Team GP Elite, leading the Pro-Am class. And Sam Shaheen in 2nd in Pro-Am. And here is Banksy still under pressure, this time from Krista Andero. Banksy not seemingly with the pace that he found yesterday. Leader on the final lap. And it is a massive double race winning, double pole sitting weekend. Taichi Watarai claims race 2 victory from pole position with fastest lap. The perfect start to the season for the young Japanese driver. Cedric Chassaing clinging on. He won't be beaten in a drag race to the line. This time he doesn't. He still makes the same error, but Khaled Al Ahmadi was not close enough to deny him. He finishes 3rd from Alexander Vateva, Sam Shaheen. Max Much-Lechner is ahead of this little battle. He finishes in 6th. Alexander Hagenberg is 7th. Saad Al Saud 8th. Banksy there takes 9th ahead of Krista Andero, who wins the Masters category. Peter Brecker was close behind him And Mark Thomas will be our final finisher, with Caleb Sumich having to retire early on in the race. So Taichi Watarai, our overall winner and the Pro Class winner. There's your Pro-Am winner, Cedric Chassang. And boy, did he have to fight for that. Fantastic effort from Cedric Chassang. Only started racing in 2022 with Team GP Elite. Has raced in the Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux, the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup, and made his Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East debut in Jeddah on the Corniche Street Circuit at the end of last year. But what a debut for Taichi Watarai. Just 21, with his total number of races before this weekend in single digits. So a very successful start to the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East season. Great qualifying from Watarai. He took pole for both races and won both. This one comfortably. However, you sense particularly that Caleb Sumich and Taichi Watarai may well have a lot of racing time together. Watarai is unfortunately going to take the checkered flag for a second time. Everybody else heading into the pit lane. In fact, he hasn't. He's come into the pit lane, so now he's come into the World Endurance pit lane. Clearly they're going to go up onto the podium rather than the podium, or rather than their podium ceremonies in their own pit lane. The Oasis pit lane, so under race control. Yes, Robert Lechner offering, Walter Lechner Jr. in fact, we're offering his congratulations. So Watarai, what a start, what a sensational start to the season. It's not the first championship that he has won on his debut. He did that in the SRO Japan GT3 series, won on his debut. Started racing in 2024. He's just 21 years old. Cedric Chassang, our Pro-Am winner for Team GP Elite. The Dutch squad on the absolute standout crews like Walter Lechner Racing in Porsche Carrera Cup and Super Cup racing. Multiple Super Cup champions, the likes of Larry Tentforder. Winners in champions in Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland as well. And finally, Khaled Al Ahmadi finishing in third place for Saudi Racing. So Saudi Racing team, Khaled finishing third, Saud Al Saud finishing 8th. So and 7x7 finishing 9th with Banksy and first with Taichi Watarai. So I think 7x7 still outscoring Team GP Elite in the, and also in fact no, Team GP Elite scoring better. They got 2nd and 5th, so they as a team have the most points from, or the best point score from the championship in race 2. As the lights went out, poor start from Max Much Lechner, absolutely bogged the engine down and disappeared into the back of the field, but Taichi Watarai from pole position held off the challenge of Cedric Chassang, right behind Samir Shaheen, and around the outside after a very good start, Alexandra Vateva. She got by Khaled Al Ahmadi. As Caleb Sumich in the yellow and red car from the tail of the field moved quickly up the order. Al Ahmadi battling for position with Vateva. That would continue pretty much to the end of the race. Dirt on his tyres, he immediately pulled out of the way to let Max Much Lechner come through. But Much Lechner still finding his feet in these cars. Saud Al Saud, I think, with contact from behind there from the yellow and red DHL car of Caleb Sumich. Vateva getting ahead of Sam Shaheen. moving into third place. Shaheen, yesterday's third place man. And then Sumic was out early on. And there will have been damage to the cooling system. Banksy fighting his way through after a slightly disappointing start, battling with the two M-Tech cars. Alexander Hagenberg ahead of him, Krista Andero behind. And then with Saud Al Saud, quite a ding-dong battle in the second half of the race. In the end, supremacy going to the Saudi driver. He would finish 8th, Banksy in 9th position. But all eyes on the battle for second. Cedric Chassang holding off Alexandra Vateva. Then Khaled Al Ahmadi caught them, went by Vateva at the first time of asking. Out front, unopposed, Taichi Watarai heading to the checkered flag for his second consecutive win. Not just winning on his debut, winning from pole on his debut and winning race 2 as well. Chassang held on valiantly for second place and winner in Pro-Am. Khaled Al Ahmadi taking third from Alexander Vateva, and Sam Shaheen right there with them in 5th position. Banksy finishing in 9th place, ahead of Krista Andero, who was on top of the pile in the Masters class. But it is all about Taichi Watarai, our championship leader. So Watarai, victory in race 1, victory in race 2. Cedric Chassang from second on the grid, 7th place in race 1, but second in race 2. And Khaled Al Ahmadi, his first podium of the season, rounding out the top 3 ahead of Alexander Vateva, Sam Shaheen and Max Much-Lechner. Alexander Hagenberg ahead of Saud Al Saud. Banksy ahead of Krista Andero, who was the top Masters driver. And the unfortunate retiree in this race, Caleb Sumic. And similarly, I think, to Alexander Vateva in race 1 with damage to the cooling system. It is vulnerable on the front of these cars. If you run into the back of somebody, doesn't usually damage their car, usually damages yours. And so nose to tail contact is to be avoided if at all possible. So here we go with the podium.
In third place, Khaled Al Ahmadi from Saudi Arabia, 5th yesterday, 3rd today.
The voice of our track announcer, the brilliant Bob Constanduras.
In second place from France, 7th yesterday, 2nd today, Cedric Chassang. Félicitations. But our winner, the winner yesterday, winner again today, well done to Taichi Watarai. And our winner of GCCC is Khaled Al Ahmadi. And in honor of Taichi Watarai, the national anthem of Japan. Well done to Taichi Watarai. The winner's trophy is presented to him by Thomas Laudenbach, Vice President of Porsche Motorsport. Well done, 2 wins for Taichi Watarai this weekend. In second place, Cedric Chassang. The trophy presented to him by Jennifer Bieler-Moll from Porsche AG. Well done to Cedric Chassang. And in third place, Khaled Al Ahmadi, the trophy presented to him by Ernst Nassi Marketing and Sales of Splendid Yachting AG. Well done to Khaled Al Ahmadi, who is also, of course, the winner of the GCC, and he is presented with that trophy by Fayez Ramzi, the Chief Operating Officer of the Bahrain International Circuit. And we're going to have now a picture with all the winners.
In the centre there is Robert Lechner. Second in from the left, Walter Lechner Jr. and the rest of the crew.
Congratulations.
The Lechner Racing Organisation who administer the championship here at the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. Very successful start to the campaign for everybody concerned. Some really excellent racing. And Taichi Watarai, oh boy, he's going to be going to Qatar in 3 weeks' time with his tail up, isn't he? Absolutely the dominant force here. Now, not just from his own performance, but a little bit of misfortune for a couple of others. Nevertheless, an impressive start, and he will have the points lead after the first 2 rounds of the championship. They head to Qatar, then to Dubai, supporting the Formula One Grand Prix, to Dubai and Abu Dhabi as the prime movers, and then to Bahrain again, back here in April next year, supporting the Formula One Grand Prix, and the season rounds out at Jeddah on the Corniche Street Circuit in Saudi Arabia in mid-April, again supporting the Formula One Grand Prix. So that's it from Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. A successful start to the season again here at the Bahrain International Circuit, and they will continue on their way throughout the Gulf States over the next few months. Well, thank you for joining us. My name's Martin Haven. Look forward for more action from Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East in 3 weeks' time in Qatar.